Is there a chance the series might get cancelled or something similar? Yes, but it's not for the reasons you might think. Let me explain. This question was asked at the beginning of 2025, and it has to be answered. But I will also be answering a lot more questions, because you guys have sent like over 100. Stuff like, how do you deal with burnout? Will there be romance? Are you going to cancel the series after everything that happened? Like absolute doomsday scenario. I'll pick and answer 50 questions in this video, primarily focusing on the series, the characters, lore, animating, and the inevitable. If you are new here and have no idea what's going on, hey, I am Valkorey. I've been a full-time concept artist and illustrator for almost 4 years now. Yet, I am also making an anime-styled web series on the side together with my team, which is getting slightly out of hand. If you're interested in seeing the opening or the first preview, please check the pinned comment below. Now, on to the questions. How did you come up with this animated show? What came first, the story or the characters? This is like immediately one of the hardest and detailed questions in this video, but I promise you that the other questions will take less time to answer. So here we go. This is like a chicken or the egg situation. What came first? I am not even sure, as it all happened naturally and was never meant to be what it is today. The Valkorey series is based on a collection of memories, real people, old school character designs, and fiction. It's a mix of all these things. Initially, I created the character Shani in 2013, but I did not plan to make a story. She was just there for me to express myself artistically. The same goes for Surkalo, Akira, and Deli. They represent the people and what they were feeling and going through back then. But there was never meant to be a story. All of us had unique experiences throughout our teens. And as we all kind of knew each other, these experiences sometimes intertwined. One day, I started to write down some of these experiences, mixed together with fiction in the form of a story concept. I was never planning to release it, as you guys might already know, but later the real-life Akira convinced me to just make it public. As I did this, I changed the concept into a more complete and detailed story with all the characters in place. After that, the character designs were adjusted to fit the chosen style and to be more suitable for animation.
Surkalo's backstory is fueled by mine. I took inspiration from my past and all the things that happened to me in my childhood that made me who I am today.
Akira was just a character made to express things I couldn't as a person. The stuff I couldn't say out loud or to others, so I expressed those thoughts through her art. Her story really started coming together the more I let my real life experiences guide not only my actions, but also hers.
Is Valkorey an actual anime? Technically, I can't call the Valkorey series an anime, nor do I want to sound like I am. Even though Japanese people are involved in creating the series, most members are from the West, and the company is based in Europe. I seriously want to respect the talented people and all the work that goes into official anime produced in Japan, and thus, I will only refer to the Valkorey series as anime styled. Is there a chance the series might get cancelled or something similar? Yes, but it's not for the reasons you might think. First of all, this is a long-term commitment series. I did not go into this thinking it would be finished within a few years, and series can sadly always get cancelled. And I will not make a promise that I cannot keep. However, as this is not just a story from my draft folder, the only way I could see this getting cancelled is by me losing my right hand, or failing to finish it before my time's up. What made you decide to create characters as wolves? At first, I actually wanted to design a cheetah, but then I saw the art from Great Wolf and thought, whoa, I want to be able to draw just like that.
I've always loved wolves. They have tight family bonds and have had their own struggles as lone wolves that I can relate to. After finding out about anime wolves, I fell in love and decided that was the way to go.
Did any of the wolf animated series on YouTube inspire you? I can't say that I have followed these series or taken any of them as inspiration, since I was more focused on studio-made content like Wolf's Rain, Princess Mononoke, Tokyo Ghoul, and my own life, plus the lives of the other series characters, of course. I do remember watching a series called The White Wolf with the Blue Eyes and Wolves of the Mist, but this was when I was a child. I enjoyed these two a lot. I do know that some people perhaps assume that Shani was inspired by them, but her first design from 2013 actually had purple eyes, which is like unreal to think about, but I'm glad that I changed it. And back then, when I was like a child, I thought that if I wanted something to be a girl, it had to include like purple or pink, which is very stupid, by the way, because I didn't even like pink. Which animes inspired you to make Valkorey? In terms of storytelling, I was inspired by Studio Ghibli's movies like Princess Mononoke. In terms of emotions, sound, and graphic scenes, I was inspired by the Tokyo Ghoul manga and the show. In terms of background art style, I was again inspired by Studio Ghibli. In terms of character art style, referring to the things like fur details and some of the anatomy, I was inspired by Wolf's Rain. Other honorable mentions are Fairy Tail, Free Run, and the movies... I cannot pronounce that. And the two movies listed on screen, mostly because I cannot pronounce the names. Where is the series going to be posted? Like which platform or site? It will be posted on this YouTube channel, but if that changes, I will update all of you. Do you have a plan for how long this series will be? Like how many seasons? Yes, the first season has 10 episodes, and depending on my health and how the series is received, we will have 2 more seasons that have a similar amount, but after that, it is over. Does it have a happy or sad ending? Or maybe a bit of both? Just so I can be mentally prepared. So yeah, this is kind of a spoiler question, so I can't answer that. But I can tell you that it will not have an ending like Wolf's Rain. Also because we took that anime for art style inspiration and not the story. However, I don't even think that the team is mentally prepared for all that will happen in the series. But that is sadly all I can say. What themes will the entire project revolve around? It is public knowledge that the Valkorey series is about finding paradise, but when you sit down, read the script and the character arcs, you can see that it's actually much more than that. I guess I could say that it's a story about healing and facing your own demons. Furthermore, you can expect a deliberate pace when it comes to unfolding the series plot, allowing for a more immersive experience and deeper character connections. It also emphasizes trauma and how it can affect a kind soul. I mean, who needs villains when life itself is already challenging enough, right? Is the paradise in Valkorey the same as the paradise in Wolf's Rain? What's the origin of this idea? When I was a child, give or take 9 years old, I daydreamed a lot. For example, while my friend was imagining that invisible person running along with the car and jumping over fences, I was daydreaming about a nicer and more peaceful place to be at. Somewhere warm, safe, and away from everything I had around me in my real life. The paradise in the Valkorey series originates from this wish. It is both visible and sensible. Will you translate the series into other languages, and how? Some of the translations will happen in-house, such as Dutch, German, and a few more. Since we have a very talented team, others will be outsourced, meaning we will get the help of professionals to translate our subtitles. English and other language dubs are something we look into, but they will not be available when the first episode releases. Japanese dub is our first priority, as the show is intended to be watched this way. With different characters and all of them being equally as interesting, how are you going to separate them by screen time? Okay, so people will be watching the series in a similar way as how Valkorey lives through it, neither knowing this new world or what happened before Valkorey woke up. Therefore, there is a main focus on Valkorey and Shani and how they see and get to know the other characters, just like how the viewer would. But since they all go on this journey together, it is unavoidable to get to know them all. Even though characters have their personal arc, not every detail must be addressed straight away. What does the society in the world of Valkorey look like? How does the elemental system play into that society/culture? Ooh, okay, I have to be careful not to spoil anything, as I would like to leave some room for imagination, even after some of the episodes are online in the future. The world of Valkorey would probably be considered primitive. Even though the story is fiction, I wanted to stick to some of the wolf aspects that are familiar to us. What I mean is that there are packs, and with that there are also ranks, status, and territories. In a primitive world, elemental powers obviously influence the society and culture quite a bit, and I think it adds a nice sense of depth to the world without blowing it up too much. Deli's and Vulcan's piercings are an example of how elemental powers can be used. Will there be any other animals in the show? Character-wise, of course. Yes, and you've already seen one of them in the intro. Do you plan to put Easter eggs in the series? And if so, will there be one with your parrot? The series is full of Easter eggs. And yeah, the red parrot known as Banshee, or Banshito, is included in the series but under a different name, as the name had to make sense in the Valkorey universe. The episode that features her though will remain a secret. Was the elemental aspect of Valkorey always intentional, or was it incorporated after having the story already made? The fire element and powers such as the ice from the intro were always intentional. The original characters from back in the days had them as well. Although Shani originally had a different color for her fire, are the characters born with elemental powers? Yes, in the story they are born with it, as the element is also part of them. Are there abilities outside of elemental ones, like mind reading for example?
Write that down, write that down!
So there's phenomena in the series that are hard to explain and are not directly tied to elemental powers for sure, but mind reading is not one of them. Is the fire elemental power the strongest? No, just like with many forms of martial arts. It is about how you learn to use it. Do the markings on the characters have a purpose? Or are they just character design choices? It's 50-50. Some of the markings have a meaning, like the ones from Deli and Vulcan, while others were design choices from their original designers back in the day. These specific ones are inspired by runes, which you would see in Norse mythology. Do any of the wolves wear some kind of face paint, or is their fur just patterned? Some of the characters have rather unique markings in the series. Deli is a great example. Not all of his markings were originally on him when he was born. However, the very stylized markings under his eyes are just his fur pattern. The two main reasons for this are very simple. One, the character creator had them on the character as well, and I wanted to honor that. And the second is in the anime genre, they often play around with facial markings, which I happen to like as well. Are Surkalo's and Valkorey's fur supposed to contrast one another, like yin and yang? Valkorey's colors are inspired by the yin and yang theme, yes. This was already the case in 2013.
I always wear black leather, black jackets, clothing, that's my style, and this reflects on Surkalo's design. However, the yin-yang applies to him as well.
If Deli were to fight both Surkalo and Valkorey at the same time, who would win? In an actual fight in the series? Deli. To Surkalo, have you ever had a circumstance where someone thought you were in character with the series Surkalo? And how did you feel about that?
Yeah, people think I am in character when I'm talking, but the funny thing is that people don't realize that there is no in character. That is literally how I act. It's just me.
Why do Deli and Surkalo have beef in the series?
Because he is a monumental. He is a
Okay, I gotta stop you right there, or else we will get demonetized. Will the series get a manga adaptation? And if so, will it be entirely different? I'm not planning to make a manga adaptation, but if there would be, the story would be the same, just in a nice little book format. Will there be romance? Yeah. Romance is a complicated thing. While it is not the main focus of the series, I am not confirming that it is absent. What is the age rating likely going to be? Are there any particular content guides you might have? The age rating for episode 1 would be PG-13, but if you want to have a full content rating regarding violence, profanity, or intense scenes, you can find it on our Discord server. Since I don't really know if YouTube would like it if I explain it here. So yeah, if you're interested in that or worried about it, please go check it out. What stylistic direction will you take for the series music? The series often plays with two extremes coming together. Black and white, warm and cold colors, graphic or frightening scenes, and peaceful quiet. The music takes a similar approach, with instrumental pieces mainly inspired by Studio Ghibli's and Tokyo Ghoul's piano soundtracks, and in contrast the vocal songs having a metal theme to them, with an occasional scream. In my opinion, these two extremes really support the series' traumatic themes and the main character, Shani and Valkorey. Have you confirmed a composer or multiple for the series? I went with one band in particular to be the vocal voice of the series, ONLAP. Their songs fit the series like a glove, and I had been a fan of their work for years. They're really talented and generous, like often releasing new songs and having everything available on Spotify, including the song used for the series intro, so please give them as much support as you guys have given the series so far. How and why did you pick that song for the opening? While writing the script for the series, I visited Belgium for inspiration, because where I live it's like mostly just flat. After a bit of walking, I sat down somewhere in the grass, like it was really sunny, like bright blue sky, pretty clouds, flowers, a forest in the distance, and as I was resting and listening to music on Spotify, an unknown song came on. It was as if the main character had written the lyrics, from the first sentence to the one with the nightmares, and of course the I'm awake. From that moment on, the song Nevermind kept playing on repeat until I went home. Will each character have a theme song? And will said song, like Sunrise, play amongst the series? No, not all of them, but many more songs were chosen as I wrote the episodes. You will hear them as the series unfolds, and Sunrise is amongst them as well. Sadly, we haven't really found a great fit for Akira's song yet. Are there any plans in the nearby future to recruit more people onto the team to help with the series production? Yes, sometimes we post team positions in our Discord and the website, but at the same time I also have to make sure that I can direct the number of team members, while also having my other studio job. Are we allowed to create fan characters? And what are the do's and don'ts? Yes, of course, I did not want to put a lot of restrictions on character designs and colors, as I kind of like that old-fashioned freedom for this project. I mean, the real-life Surkalo has a mohawk, so why wouldn't I allow it for his character? But one of the only restrictions that I do have is that there are no winged wolves, so maybe this is something to keep in mind. Will you let fan characters appear in the series?
No.
What do you think about AMVs? Would you be okay with people making them for your show if they give you credit? Yeah, of course. To my surprise, actually, it already happened on TikTok. During the creation and writing process, have you had to edit out any scenes, elements, characters, or plot lines? Oh my god, yes. There's almost nothing left of the original story concept. For example, the very first draft, before the concept art was even made, did not have Valkorey bursting out of the water, as the lake in the first draft was so small that she could lay down in it without being submerged. And there's also a scene in the first episode that originally featured one extra character, but she was removed to allow the viewer to focus on what's important. When you wrote the story, was writer's block a nemesis to you? Actually, no. I am extremely lucky to have close friends who inspire me. They contribute to the story and have experienced life together with me. They understand the story, the message, and the characters the best. At the same time though, I also think that it helps that I've been a concept artist for a few years now. It surely helps to get into the creative thinking and storytelling mindset. How long did the storyboarding take in total, from start to finish? The storyboarding was done in my free time instead of during regular office hours. Let me sum it up for you. The average amount I would finish was 2 to 4 storyboard pages a day. We have 217 unique cuts in the first episode and 69 storyboard pages. Let's say I finished 3 a day in total. It would have taken me roughly 23 days to finish them all in my spare time. Have you encountered any significant technical difficulties with the episode animation so far? Deli was such a pain to animate in the opening due to some issues with the layers. I think everybody secretly hates animating him, as he seems to cause like some really weird, unknown hiccups sometimes. But so far, we have been able to solve all of them.
There's a cut in the opening that had Valkorey in it that I had trouble with. There were quite a bit of mistakes in there, but I think it was because it was my second cut I've ever in between for the show, and also the amount of experience I had at that time was not a lot.
Which character is the most difficult to animate? Valkorey is the easiest, while Surkalo is the hardest.
I also think Valkorey is the easiest, and Surkalo being the most difficult when it comes to animating, but I also do have trouble with Deli's markings as well. They can be quite challenging sometimes.
If you could improve one aspect of the scenes you've completed so far, which one would you choose? Oh yes, there's a cut in the first preview that I really dislike. Mostly because it had to be rushed. I don't want to point it out, but we finished the entire thing in less than a day, and therefore it has imperfections that I would like to adjust. How many frames do you use when animating the episodes? We usually animate on 3s, which is common in anime and works for our style. Is animating ever overwhelming you? And if so, how do you go about that feeling? I usually label my animation cuts by difficulty when planning my sprints. This is to avoid being overwhelmed or overwhelming my team too much. Generally, it's good to go from a complex cut, such as a walk cycle in perspective, like with about 100 frames or more, to a cut with minimal movement and mainly dialogue. I know it can be tempting to finish all of the easy cuts first, but this will just leave you with the challenging ones in the end, and it will keep hitting you one after another. After finishing an easier cut, I usually feel confident and have plenty of energy to start the complex ones. Obviously, there are many more techniques to prevent getting overwhelmed or ending up in a burnout, but I shall share these in a separate video. This is a sweet one. How do you animate so good with Clip Studio Paint? So yeah, first of all, thank you, that's such a nice compliment. This is mainly because I work as a full-time artist during the day and have years of experience as an artist and animator under my belt. Obviously, I still have a lot to learn though, and I'm always trying to improve. Never stop with that. And the tip that I can give you is dividing the animation work into sections, no matter the software. Simply said, start with a layout, obviously first storyboard though, but when you start animating, you start with a layout, do the rough key animation after, you clean those keys, do in-betweens based on these cleaned keys, and so forth. Throughout the whole animation process, which takes the longest to complete? It really depends on the number of frames, the characters, and even the action. If I have to pick one, it would be in-betweening head turns, particularly up close.
I agree with Valkorey. It does depend on the number of frames, characters, and whatever they're doing. I also agree with the head turns, but more specifically, Surkalo head turns are the hardest ones to animate.
Will there be more drawing tutorials? Aha, yes. I mean, yes and no. At the moment, we are looking into expanding the team a little bit more, so more content can be made for YouTube, but I will 100% make an eye tutorial though. And a lot of the upcoming log videos will give more tips, tricks, and advice to improve your own art. Whether that is for animation, background art, or just drawing in general. What do you think of the community? And how do you think it will affect your career and life in the long term? I once mentioned that I like being in the background, so being here, making the series publicly, sharing the progress and talking to people means stepping out of my comfort zone. I still have a mild form of stage fright, and when the series announcement became popular, I did not know what to do. And when I see a big group of people admiring my work and seeing how I'm inspiring them, it just leaves me speechless. It's like I feel happy and anxious at the same time. But I am also so grateful for each and every one of you who has decided to join the community and believe in me and my work. The community feels so alive and supportive of each other, and I am glad to still be there among everyone else, like taking part in conversations and interacting with the fans instead of watching from a distance. We recently had a spring art contest as well, and it was just nice, you know, seeing the community coming together. I am keeping my work and the series separate. I rarely share details about my professional job or the things I work on or have finished, as I would like to be seen as just another person and not somebody who should receive special treatments, you know? I'm not sure how the community will affect my career though, but so far it has improved my life a lot. Hold up, we actually have another question for all the series characters, so this will be the last until part 2. Do you all like the way your character represents you in the series? Yes, the series made me appreciate Shani more. Seeing Valkorey, however, in the series is both exciting and confronting and troubling at the same time.
There probably will be some flaws, which I'm gonna die laughing about, but it's neither here or there. I do like that it portrays me and the fact that I am, well, being, let's say lightly, smug and, let's say like an to others. And it will also show the character's progression, how me and Shani met Valkorey, and it's gonna be interesting.